Hello everyone and welcome back to more AEW on TEW2020. We are on a bit of a different screen because I've recorded up to... I'm currently booking the 1st of April, of course, April, not March, which means we are a little bit after Revolution, but Dynamite worked out fine. My episode of Dark, just the first one, just this first one, a little bit different, things will be fine, things will sound a little bit different when we get over to Dynamite, but... we have Dark, so I'm going to try to do the best I can to remember all of what happened on this. So the Jacksons, they started off with their opening to BTE because with Dark now we have brought it up to 2 hours. I think it's 2 hours, yeah. And the first like half hour or so is going to be meant to be BTE, and we're also starting to get a little bit less of a cookie cutter style in terms of how Dark is being booked. So, you know, we actually have angles going on, we have matches that differ in how long they take. So, yeah. Jacksons, they do their normal intro, and then the Dark Order, they do some stuff. I'll eventually get around to writing them by the time that I am at right now. Hasn't quite happened yet, but that's fine. Then we have Garza. He's backstage. He starts flirting with Brandy Rhodes. He does something to insinuate that, you know, something like, what was it? I think the line I used was like, you know, still look as good as you did when you first debuted. So, you know, Brandy takes that as an insult to her being almost 40, which surprises me. Brandy just walks away. Chris Statlander, her, then she's doing one of her, like, alien mission report things. Shotzi comes up and asks what she's doing, and Chris kind of just freaks out, runs off. I think Chris was looking, she was investigating Maki and Abaddon still. Then we had Karashita. She went up and she made some amends with, Mayu and Kairi, because this was like, you know, they're still you know, they understand why they fought each other, because, you know, they were, you know, it's for a championship, you know, it makes sense. Then we got into Dark itself, where the Young Bucks, they made a couple announcements. One, they were announcing that the show itself had gone a little bit longer. That Dark had moved on to an hour and a half. Again, in terms of gameplay, it's 2 hours, because I do have that half-hour slot for BTE. There's also 2 tournaments going on. There's a tag team tournament to figure out who it takes on FTR. And there's also a youth tournament, the winner of which will take on Pac for the TNT title. Or whoever's the TNT champion at the time, it's Pac. That's kind of a spoiler to something that happens later on in the episode, but whatever. So it's people from all over the, not just AEW. You have some people who are just indie people, you have people from other companies, people who are unhired. So we had Nat Murphy and Lee Johnson. That was part of the youth tournament. Murphy wins, obviously. Then El Hijo de Vikingo of AAA beat Bruce Levesque of Ring of Honor. Then we had the waiting room. Tully Blanchard said, yeah, I lost in kind of embarrassing fashion at Revolution, but my guys are still going to go up. We're still going to work towards, you know, being a legitimate threat, of course. Sean Spears, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Fred Yehi. Then we have Mao of DDT, I want to say. It's either DDT or Dragon Gate, I don't remember which. Defeats Myron Reed of AEW. Bad Influence undefeated TNT, which is the team of the Dudley brothers. Terrell and Terrence, Devon's kids. Then we had Trey of Impact defeat Ty Ray, who was just a indie guy. And then Miro beat Brian Cage. Again, a little bit of a weird setup here, just because I did lose that first episode of Dark since going back to recording before Revolution, but it'll be fine. So Dynamite will be normal. It's just this first one is a little bit weird. And moving on to Dynamite, we start off, as always, with our D&D stuff. For this time, they finally reached the kingdom led by King Silver. And, you know, it's not really too much interesting happening. They're just getting a little bit of world building. Yeah, the Dark Order's in charge. They've recently gotten more lands integrated, which is kind of just, you know, hey, we've picked up more people for the Dark Order. So, real quick stuff. it's been a long time since I've actually done any booking at all, so I need to, extremely marketable. So I need to kind of get back in the swing of things. Our show, however, starts off with the Young Bucks defeating the Hit Squad. This is part of a tournament, which I would assume they would have announced, like, during the match. Like, hey, they announced on Twitter earlier. So, pretty good there. 64 for people for the Hit Squad. That's because they're both unimportant, which is surprising. But, you know, I will easily take it. After this, we get one of those Darby Allin vignettes, so, you know, he's doing all this, you know, crazy stuff. He's jumping off of bridges. He's, you know, skating around. He's talking about, oh, Jeff Hardy. He's, you know, Jeff Hardy's, you know, an idol of the business, but, you know, I'm the future of the business, and, you know, they have things like Jeff Hardy. I'm pretty sure he said that he sees a little bit of Jeff Hardy, or a little bit of himself in Darby Allin, so, kind of playing off that. They're still continuing their feud that they kind of teamed up before, but now not so much. Of course, right now, we won't see this, but the tournament itself does have the Hardy brothers in it, the tag team tournament, that is, because Matt Hardy has powers over time and space and can transport between worlds, similar to Kota Ibushi, as you do. After this, I think I just missed the button. There we go. After that, we have a commercial, and I probably should have just had MJF and not had anyone else, but oh well. When it turns from commercial, MJF is in the ring, and he has the AEW World Title belt hanging just very proudly over his shoulder. The rest of the VIP club is standing around. They all look very well dressed. You know, Chris Bay is in a suit. Tenille and Diona, sorry, are either they're in dresses or they're also in suits, whatever they like. And, you know, we have a bunch of other faceless people, you know, probably like local towns brought in to be other employees of the VIP club, and MJF just stands there in the ring. He has he has a podium with him, and he's just kind of, you know, mic in hand, he has a podium, he's, you know, really just showing off, hey, look how cool I am. And yeah, I really should have just not rated the others, but oh well. It just looks perfect on me, doesn't it? See, this is what the world really wants to see. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, AEW World Champion. It's a glorious sight. Just imagine if a certain Griff Garrison didn't injure Wardlow. The VIP's club would be perfect, but that's not to discredit my wonderful associates, Tenille, Chris, and Diona. Of course, things are looking a little bit on the bleaker side in terms of the rest of my entourage, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the strap of gold on my shoulders. Soon enough, Diona or Tenille will have that women's title, Chris will be TNT champion, and we're going to prove that we're not just saying that we are VIPs, we're going to prove that we are VIPs. Really, still poor gimmicks. But what matters now is that I've seen what those marks online have been saying about me, that I'm not worthy of being the champion, that I'm too raw and unpolished to be the greatest thing in pro wrestling, that people like Adam Page or Kenny Omega or Kota Ibushi deserve that title more than me, that Jon Moxley should have won. But you know what? Page is just some backwater drunkard, Kenny's gone missing, and I've beaten Jon Moxley. Of course, Kota will be my opponent soon enough, but I'll beat him and prove that I am the future and the present of wrestling. But let's backtrack a little bit. Let's just rewind. I beat Jon Moxley. Fair and square, all you losers who pirated Revolution saw, I pinned the unbeatable, the unpinnable god that is Jon Moxley, fair and square. So you know what? My words, my actions are better than yours. While you're not anyone of importance, I have people begging for my endorsement. Why do you think TNT agreed to more time? Why do you think YouTube allowed Dark to go another half hour? Why do you think you see more sponsors here? It's because of me. Listen up, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, whatever you want to call yourself. You're just a speed bump on my way to being the greatest champion this company, no, this business has ever seen. The only way this title is leaving is if I have to vacate it because I'm injured for carrying this business on my back. I will drag the business to the top of the world whether it wants to or not. I don't give a damn about whatever they want to think about me. I am a necessary good for this business. I will pull pro wrestling to the pinnacle of the media, to the peak of popularity, because I'm better than you, and you know it. These segments should have done a lot better, but I kind of screwed up and actually rated these 3, but oh well. After this, actually Flair beats Big Swole in a real quick match, and Kana was on commentary for that match, and she leaves the commentary desk, and she's sarcastic clapping for Kana, now the AEW Women's Champion after beating Hikaru Shida at Revolution. Not really a surprise there, because it's Kana. And the Queen's Court, they were all at ringside. They come into the ring, and they're ready to protect their queen. Because, Kana's looking like she's about to get all, rough and tumble with the queen. But Kana just gets face-to-face. There's no physical confrontation. The two just sizing each other up, and Kana just leaves. And Flair looks a little bit peeved, but it's nothing really too serious. After this, Kota Ibushi is walking backstage when he's confronted by the entirety of the Inner Circle, and Jericho gets in his face, and he starts to speak. Says, "You like to think you're some hot stuff since you kicked Kenny out, huh? Well, we've never faced each other in all of our time in pro wrestling, so, you know what? I think we need to change that. I am Le Champion, I am the Demo God, and I am the greatest of all time. So you, Kota, need to learn your place in AEW. I've been here from the beginning." So, kind of just lightly pokes Kota in the stomach with the bat, and the entire Inner Circle follows after him. So that is our feud for Kota. Very good. I will take it. Can be penalized for being used in lengthy matches. Uh-oh. Oh well. After this, Top Flight defeats the Hardy Brothers when Dante quick roll-up pin on Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy accepted Dante Martin as a protege, and this was after I'd already set up this round for the tournament, so, a quick change of plans, and Top Flight getting the real quick surprise victory as they beat the Hardy Brothers. Top Flight, they're all pretty young, they're, early 20s? And, yeah, they've just beaten the Hardy Brothers. After this, Renee Paquette is backstage with Kurt Angle and his guys, asking about the tag tournament. And Kurt says, "Well, I suppose it makes sense. FTR has been the most dominant tag team the world has seen in years, so the only way to figure out who even deserves to challenge us, who even deserves to lose to us, with the tournament. Of course, it's March, the season of upsets here in America. Of course, March Madness going on, college basketball, big thing in America. And we've already seen some of that here in AEW. I faced against Matt and Jeff before. They're fantastic opponents, and it's been a while since they've been in top form, since they've been in their prime. So I'm excited to see where things go. I'm excited to see where Top Flight goes, how every competitor faces off here, but I want to see who the next team to lose to Dax and Cash are." So a bit cocky there. Afterwards, Brody Lee defeats Dustin Rhodes in a real quick match. Brody continues to beat up Dustin. Cody eventually rushes back in, and Brody, he's expecting this to happen, so he has Redbeard, Uno, and Stu Grayson, all, they're all ready for Cody to show up. They beat him down pretty easily, and I'm already seeing that this is going to be a pretty disappointing show, but oh well. And Brody just he leaves. He's content because while Cody may have won a battle back at the New Year's that kicked him out until Revolution, Brody's back. Because of course I'm not going to actually fire him. After this, there's a very quick cutaway to backstage, and you see Sting on the ground, and carrying his black bat is Garza Jr. He's kind of just, cockily twirling it in his hand as he kind of beckons the cameraman to come over, possibly with the bat, kind of like, "Hey, you listen to me." And he says, "I feel like there's been a bit of misfortune coming along with my arrival in AEW. Came in with all this hype, the hottest commodity in the world, yet I've been used for nothing." but I'm taking things into my own hands. Sting and his little mentees are nothing before a god like me. I'm done with playing second fiddle to everyone else. If I have to break this old man in order to get my way, I will. And then he continues to basically just challenge, what is it? It's Andrew Everett and Lee Johnson right now. I believe Sting has another mentee, Griff Garrison. Those are the three that Garza's kind of mainly going after. Because I have kind of underutilized Garza. He had that opening feud with MJF, but aside from that, he's kind of done nothing. That's really about it. You know, it's pretty much just been that, and he's kind of been put by the wayside, but now, you know, kind of going out there, he wants to take things for himself because he does have a lot of potential to be really good. After this, we see Pac coming in. He has Pillman Jr. and Dijak around him, and cameraman comes by and just says, "Open challenge in the main event," and that's really about it. Just a real quick segment. Pac just letting it be known he wants to prove that he is the best damn wrestler in the world. Brian Cage then squashes local talent ZZ Loop in just over a minute. May receive a bonus when looked dominant. No. After that, Taz walks into the ring. He says, "You looking for a challenge, huh, Kurt? Well, I think you know what to do about that. See, let's remember way back in the day, 21 years ago, Kurt, one of my greatest moments back when I choked you out in only 3 minutes. Now we're back in the same company. You've got your guys, I've got mine. Look, you might have the best tag team, but I've got the best damn workers in the world. Absolute Ricky Starks. I can't remember what Jeff Cobb, The Machine, Brian Cage. Hell, I'm sure I could find a million guys better than yours. How's about this, Kurt? I smash your guys without an effort. I'm throwing down the gauntlet, so it's up to you to accept it." So, of course, Taz, Kurt Angle, legendary Royal Rumble 2000 moment. That was actually before I was born, fun fact. But, you know, it's been talked about a lot. One of the best debuts in wrestling. Taz comes in, he chokes out someone who's a big deal in the company with Kurt Angle in just 3 minutes, and now Taz got his stable, Kurt Angle's got his stable. Why not smash them together and see how things go? After this, Moxley, he's in, you know, his little grungy area. He's, you know, that's that place that you always see him in his promos, and he still looks very irritated, and he still has a little bit of the bumps and bruises, a little bit of the wounds of the battle against MJF. He says, "I gotta admit, Max, you beat me. You managed to get a fluky win over me, but you still won. You're the champ now, and I gotta claw my way back to get that title, but you know what? Savor your victory, Max. You're going to need to enjoy every single moment you got in the spotlight, because once I get my way back to you, I've got no chance of getting back up. You're gonna be a bit of an ass, I'm gonna be honest. Stuck up, think you're better than everyone. Yeah, you might sometimes get a bit of a leg up on the competition, but how long is that gonna last? Because once I get another opportunity at your neck, Max, you're gonna wish you didn't just kick out. You're gonna wish that you didn't mess with me, but I gotta find my way to the top. Because I want to watch your snide little face as I take you down." So Mox, there's no rematch clauses. Unless MJF is like, "Hey, Moxley, I want you to face me," that's not happening. Mox has to climb his way back up the ladder, and there's gonna be a lot of opponents in the way because AEW is pretty stacked. So we'll see how things go from here. In our main event, 2 people accept the open challenge, Adam Page and Sammy Guevara, and Pac defeats Sammy with a shooting star senton, and Pac with a 77. That's real nice. That'll finish our show, 72. Better than I thought, pretty much exclusively carried by that main event and that Moxley promo, but again, it has been a long time since I've last recorded. Right now, it's nearly April, and Revolution was recorded back in January, so whoops. But, so we'll be seeing how things continue on, because I don't even know how they're going to continue on. I only barely just got the stories made up. But, we'll see how that is. And the next week of Dark and Dynamite.